go. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning if you're like us here in Montreal, Canada. It's currently 9 a.m. here where we stand in the Devolutions studio. My name is Maxime Trottier. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Devolutions, and I'll be your host today for this podcast/webinar regarding the NIS2 compliance in Europe. On my left side, Maurice, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, I'm a VP of products at Devolutions. I mostly oversee the PAM offering, and I'm also the traveling salesman going to see you guys often in Europe. I'm just back from Berlin last week.
Yeah.
So happy to be here with you.
Awesome. Mark.
Yeah, subject matter expert and also product marketing advisor now, working with our product marketing team. But still doing presentations, still discussing a lot of our products with our customers. And I think I have one of my customers that I spoke with last week. So hi, Elvis, if you're there. Thank you for joining. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty straightforward. The point is today is to showcase different controls regarding the NIS2 regulation or, let's say regulation in that case. We're going to explore a few of the controls and how here at Devolutions we can help you guys become more compliant regarding this regulation. And it doesn't have NIS2, Maurice, is not just to check a box within your company. It's more about how to increase security regarding your operations, right?
Yeah, as professionals, we get imposed regulations, compliance. Sometimes you elect to choose to follow a framework, but in this case, you must think of it really as the lifeblood of your company, the survival of your organization, because it's just not for passing an audit. It's really to survive attacks and to make sure that your organizations will sustain really for the longest time ever.
Yeah, and the NIS2 framework stems from, there were the NIS1 back in 2016.
Yeah, really way back when. And sadly, it was really not up to par. NIS2 is a huge advance.
Yep.
But sadly, last time I checked, it was 160,000 organizations that would be subject to NIS2 when all the countries have passed it into law.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them will be small to medium businesses.
And why do we talk about it today? I mean, it started at the beginning of the year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Implementation of...
No, it started years ago. I haven't created a slide for that with that information. But ultimately, there are guidelines, and each of the 27 countries must pass them into law. And I think Germany was ready to have the vote on that bill, and the parliament was dissolved for the current election that took part. Okay. So no country has NIS2 in place.
Okay. But it's coming.
It's coming. They have a deadline.
Got it.
Most people agree that some countries will be late, but it's a huge ship that's changes directions. Okay. It's a huge undertaking, but it's for the best of everybody.
Yeah. So my guess is if you're here today attending, you're curious to know a bit how here at Devolutions we can tackle this NIS2 regulation and help you guys comply with this framework that's being put in place in Europe. I see mainly people from Europe, by the way, in the chat. Thanks for joining us today, guys. So we might want to deep dive. Mark, do you have something to say before we deep dive into the presentation, or if you don't mind, I can just start the slide deck and we can deep dive into the controls and how we help you guys here. All right, so we're gonna switch screen if you don't mind. Let's go. So operationalizing NIS2, implementing key security controls with Devolutions. Goal here is to make sure that that you guys understand that it doesn't have to be complicated or complex. It can be done pretty straightforward, pretty simply within our set of tools and platform. So today the goal is to explore all those different controls here with the team today with Maurice and Mark. So it's going to be part of we're going to do a bit of theory with the slide deck that's glitching right now. We're gonna showcase some controls, and then we're gonna deep dive into the demo with Mark, hands-on with the tool. And it seems like we have some issues with the cable. It's always the cable, right? So by the time that we fix this this small glitch, there's a lot, Maurice, if you want to talk about when you read the NIS2 framework, there's a lot of different controls to put in place, or
Yes.
I would say goals to achieve with
Yes.
and it seems like for smaller businesses, at least, it's tough to get their hands on exactly what you want to build and what you want to do in that regards, right?
Yes. Let's talk about use the least privilege principle. What does that mean to you? And I like to think of, and again, out of the 160,000 organizations, many do not have a chief security officer or even IT department. So these guys, and for me, the persona is the chief financial officer,
Yep.
and he or she has 5 hats. Who's your privacy officer? Me. Who's your IT officer? Well, me. So who's going to be your compliance officer? It's me again. So what does that mean to a layperson to attain really that principle? It doesn't mean anything. They don't know. And as IT professionals, which I'm not in any sense, I just really mess things up as an IT professional, but still, as with my experience, we've undergone right here at Devolutions, we've elected to follow ISO 27001, and it's a huge undertaking. You need policies and plans, disaster recovery, backup. It's crazy the amount of procedures that you need to put in place. And sometimes the focus, like ISO 27001, is really on a continual improvement. You need to write a procedure, test it, improve it. So it's really the undertext of the regulation is to allow organizations to improve themselves. So for them, it's really, it's like a soundbite. And you need to know how to achieve that. So using a PAM, any PAM, will allow you to really attain these controls easily. But before that, there's a huge undertaking. You need to have all of these procedures in place and plans. So
Okay. We see on the slide deck that we just showed, we see the key goals to achieve within that framework, of course. And if we switch to the next slide here, if you're new to Devolutions, we're a software company here from Montreal, Canada. Privilege access management, remote connection management, and password management. We have more than 1 million users right now in 140 countries that relies on our tools, which are newly packaged between 4 different use cases. We do offer password management, remote access for third-party users, contractors, vendor management. You might hear sometimes. Remote connection management are, of course, the package with remote desktop manager that I guess you guys are pretty much all using. And the last one, which is our full-fledged package, is the Devolution PAM platform. And then we've just released a new package, a starter pack for teams, and for smaller teams, but also a good start if you want to take a look at PAM. For up to 5 users, we have a package for you guys, which you get all the Devotion platform, the PAM platform, and features and functionality.
Yeah, 5 IT professionals, it goes a long way for smaller businesses. You may be 25, 50 employees with that size of an IT staff. So it's really good value.
Yeah, and just for you guys today, the starter pack will be released next week on the Devotion store, and we're going to send out a coupon code for all of you guys to get their hands on the starter pack. Pricing, if I may, the pricing is $300 per user per year. and you get a 25% discount on that package for up to 5 users.
That's amazing.
You get access to all the
So
features.
we showed it in Berlin last week, so it was a spoiler.
Right, so
Yeah,
it's,
wow.
it's still not available on the well. You need to contact sales right now,
Yeah.
but we're gonna promote it on the Devotion store in the upcoming week, and you guys after the webinar are gonna get access to the starter pack, so you can really get your hands on the full-fledged platform here at Devolution, get your toe wet into the PAM venture or the PAM journey you want to achieve for up to 5 users. So very good price point as well. So that was the marketing part. Let's deep dive into Control 1. Maurice, if you want to bring us to this control, what does it mean? We don't.
I don't remember it by heart.
First control is list all users with admin or elevated privileges.
Oh yeah, so usually when you have a PAM or any really system of identity and access management, it's going to be a system that will discover the accounts. You know, we need to connect and list accounts, and so you have a visibility. You need to know what you have in order to control it. So it's really a basic feature of any PAM system is to scan and discover accounts. So and then you can make a decision about how to handle them.
So you get to know a bit more on who has access to what kind of system and who is at risks.
Yeah, well, the level of privilege is what we aim to control. You know, just handling accounts is not enough. And again, there's a wide spectrum of options if you want to be extremely secure. Now I'm talking of zero trust principles, but you need to see who has what privilege.
Got it. Start by identifying local domain admins, users, SSH keys.
Yeah,
would be
well,
the starting point.
in Europe, I think 60% of PAM deployments are still on premises. So a lot of Active Directory. There's a huge shift to the cloud. So a few vendors there. But so a good PAM will allow you to scan a lot of what is called identity providers. So anything that has a source of account, that has a username password, we need to be able to scan them and also look at their memberships and permissions.
Awesome. We're going to see that in action in a few minutes. Control number 2, centralize and securely store privileged credentials.
Yes, so that's vaulting. A vault. You need a vault to store these accounts and hopefully also really have a gated access to that account. So it might be checkout. We call it checkout. Some other vendors call it, I forget.
Just in time?
No. It's reserving the account for exclusive use. Anyway, that's the principle. And hopefully as well, doing something with the password after, so changing it on the schedule every time you use it. But the gist of it is really storing these accounts securely. Again, and that comes from other presentations, we feel that passwords are not meant for humans. For authenticating, really logging onto our system, we push forward the passwordless authentications and now soon passkeys. So humans should not have passwords, neither for logging into our systems, nor for accessing other systems, be downstream in your infrastructure.
Awesome. Control number 3, enforce multi-factor authentication for admin accounts.
Yes. So the bad guys are extremely good at finding out passwords. I think, again, a great majority of attacks use a valid account, username and password. It's crazy. So to protect against that, you need multi-factor authentication. And again, there are various kinds of MFA, 2FA. What came out in 2015 is not good anymore. So at Devolutions, you remember 3 years ago, we went everyone with advanced MFA. So you need to have a second layer of security, because if you just know the username and password, it's not enough protection. You need to have something, another means to certify that you are yourself indeed.
Now with the good stuff, Mark.
Yes.
Account discovery, credential vaulting.
Yeah. So, and I want to emphasize on something important here is that with what we can do and showcase is all about simplicity, but it's also about productivity because we talked a lot about security features and how a policy engine will take care of ensuring that the most critical assets and being credentials here are secured. So the first part was, of course, the discovery of accounts.
Yep.
So having control over what we're using, but also over the privileges attached to them. So seeing on our screen here for the presentation, in the administration section, and this for everyone to see, we're not seeing the screen. There we go. Thank you. So this is within our solution Devolution server here. And so this is where the policy engine comes in for privilege access management. And now in the dedicated section for privilege access, we have what we call here providers, which will give us the ability to go to sources where these accounts exist. And these accounts can be various. So here's a preview of what we can do today: domain accounts, Linux box accounts, SQL accounts, local Windows accounts, Azure AD, Entra ID accounts, even SSH key. We can do that and do rotation on that part. And so that gives us the advantage of really going pretty much in the most critical spaces to retrieve these most, again, critical assets and being able to do controls like, of course, password rotation, having it in our approval mechanism for authentication and whatnot. That's the first step of getting to these sources and then gathering these critical assets. And now the next thing that was also discussed here was the use of the accounts themselves afterwards. How do we then broker them? That's in what we call our PAM vaults here. So after going through this process of discovering my accounts, where will I find them? Well, we have this dedicated section for privilege access, and within them is one example, a domain account, and then afterwards I can do a checkout, use it for a certain period of time, having a password rotation attached to it with, of course, all the policies when it comes to the rotation itself, setting a time-based frame here, doing propagation. That's another element of great importance where you use these accounts as dependencies. I can think of service accounts, for example. We can rotate the password there as well with propagation. And of course, it goes through the point of using them against sessions for authentication. So an easy process of just launching connections, and then we don't see the password through the whole process.
Great. And then how do you enforce MFA for admin accounts?
Yeah, that's the important point here. And Maurice mentioned it. You know, in our solution, of course, everyone that will log in, they need their own identities. So you want a mechanism that will give you either single sign-on. If you have a cloud-based identity provider, we can think of Entra ID, Okta, Ping One from Ping Identity. That's more of an American thing, but we can see it in other places, even in Europe. But we also have custom authentication, which provides local access to the solution, local authentication. So that's useful in cases of you have external vendors, consultants, and whatnot. Anyone outside of your organization, you want to give them a way to access the solution. So all of that is done here under the server settings. Again, another place for policies, authentication. And then we see all of our sources for authentication represented here in this section.
Yeah, that's our own authentication layer, our Devolution server authentication.
Yeah.
But indeed, most people are moving to major providers, and they have their own MFA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, back to, thanks, Mark, for that quick demo. Back to control number 4 here. Create a policy for who can access what and why.
Yes, obviously, you hire someone on Monday morning, they normally should not have access to the keys of the kingdom. So they will have their privileges and permissions as you decide, but still you need to be able to drive that role-based access control. So that's basically it. You need to have permissions and easily assigned permissions, and really be able to report on those permissions, most importantly, because that in your reporting that you will have to do for your compliance, you will need to justify who has access, since when, why did he get access, and even further in the checkout workflow we mentioned earlier, we could require a ticket number. So there are ticketing system integrations, and you need to justify why. And I'm working on AI analyzing the ticket text to see if it matches with the request. So it's fun times, but it's really easy. It's our role-based access control.
There you go.
And with tools like ServiceNow and Jira, I think you're working on, because I've seen some of that.
I have a long list. In
yes.
Berlin, someone asked for Freshdesk. I already knew Zendesk, and we use Salesforce in here. So we have a long list of ticketing systems that are coming this year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's my hobby.
We've got a CDR back system in the Devolutions platform in a couple of
Yes.
minutes. Control number 5, limit use of shared admin accounts. So popular one.
Okay, again, if you imagine your cybersecurity posture 1 to 10 using shared account, let's say it's a 6, because everyone uses the same. So on the destination, you're not sure
Who's access to it?
who has access and who did what. You see admin 1.
Yep.
So we can do it. You can correlate with our logs to see, Bill had access to admin 1 at that time. It's a level of control. It is completely acceptable. But the next best thing is to use personal accounts, again, with granted privileges on the go. And then ultimately, that just-in-time provisioning may be it's not for everyone, but adhering to zero trust principles. So when you do still use shared account, you need to have that level of control of who has access to them and to be able to log that activity. So we can do that.
And you can track it, right?
Yes.
Control number 6, log and monitor all privileged accesses. There you go.
Easy peasy.
That's being it's pretty
Logs.
straightforward. Logs,
built-in logs, and integration, which we won't show, with external systems,
Providers,
commonly known as syslog, but it's a SIEM or SOAR or XOR. It's crazy nowadays. Acronym jungle out there.
And can I add one thing, Maurice? Am I ahead of myself when I say I think we have proof of concepting with Azure Sentinel right now?
Yes, it's the other team that's working on that. So I don't know where it's at right now. I think it's I don't know if you guys know, we do hackathons. So we get a day or two to work on stuff that's a bit bleeding edge. Somebody is looking at that.
Very good.
Plus, with all our capabilities within our PAM infrastructure, you can record sessions, right? Record privileged sessions in case of forensic.
And again, if you elect to do so, that's our gateway offers that capability. So you have remote sessions, and then you have privileged sessions where you might say, I must record this. So if the recording is not working, the session will end. And since we're already taking a video, we can now do shadowing of that session. So yourself, if you hire a contractor, you can look at what they're doing in near real time, and you can even interrupt the session. But what is key here is that video recording is stored and is secure in our systems.
Awesome. And Mark, if you want to take away the controls here to showcase our RBAC system, we deal with low privilege accounts and high privilege accounts and logs and reports capabilities.
Yeah. So going back to screen here, it's still in the spirit of driving everything through the policy engine. Maurice, you mentioned permissions. So being able to control who has access to what, but specifically in our PAM capabilities here, the permissions will give you that flexibility. From here, you define who has access to what in terms of entries, what they're allowed to do, basically. So that's the first part where you would apply these controls. But then afterwards, for control 5 and 6, we mentioned the use of privileged accounts, low privilege, high privilege concept, the recording as well, that's done. So first section here is the extensive access to reports that you have. So here you see basically everything that will happen. You have the standard logs for the sessions, but you also have a dedicated section for the privilege access. So the recent activities that were made, the password rotation history as well for these accounts, you'll see all of that from here. And I think we have a few examples of the rotation. There we go. So we see what account was rotated at what time, and since the last update as well, since last password usage as well. It's all done through the reports, and in recording the same thing. And I want to add perhaps just a little, perhaps a sneak peek for our next major release. We're going to be able to do RDP shadowing, or I should say session shadowing. That's coming. So that's really nice. I mean, just for people to understand, you can actually see the current session that's running. I did it myself, and that was crazy. I mean, seeing what's happening in the session, that's really nice, and it gives you again an even a bigger view of what is happening, because now you can see it in real time. You're not waiting for the recording, but it's there as well. So that's all part of these controls, and then we can go a step further by actually seeing what's happening in the session. And again, stay tuned. This is coming very, very soon.
And what if what's happening isn't like up to par with your process or policy? Can you kick out or close the connection?
Yes, and that's one of the nice controls here, is that we've put everything together. So basically, you can see the session right now. But by seeing that, you also have the controls that it's going through what we call here our Devolutions gateway, which is best described as, this proxying of connections. It secures the connection, but you have actually control over the connection. I see a lot of requests, and we see that often, how can I force your product to launch connections? Everything goes exclusively through your product. So we're forcing everything. We're forcing policies because everyone has to go through, for example, Remote Desktop Manager or through Devolution Server to actually access the connection. So with the Devolutions gateway, we can actually see the session running with the recording, but we can actually kill it as well. When we see something that's not going right, we can just close it. We have that control with the Devolutions gateway.
Awesome. And before we move forward, did you have something else you wanted to showcase, Mark, before we move on? Or?
No, that's
awesome. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to use the chat window here. We have access to all your questions, so don't hesitate to interrupt us. We'll answer all your questions. And there's going to be a 10 or 15-minute Q&A session at the end of the presentation, which is moving quite rapidly right now. We're already at Control 7. So if you want to, there you go. Control 7, apply the principle of least privilege.
Okay, so this is maybe obscure for you, those that don't know IT a lot. But it's really at the basis of not trusting, really, not the person, but maybe not trusting that they haven't been hacked without their knowledge. So, and we can go through a lot of scenarios, but the idea is that you should only have the right to do the operation that you need to do, not one iota more. So if you need to install a driver on a computer, you need one set of permissions. If you need to manage the users on that identity provider, you need another set of permissions. So in AD, there are 18 roles, I believe, and AD, Entra, it's another set of roles. You should not use the computer admin account for small day-to-day tasks.
Standard operations.
Never. Because, and I'm going to draw in the air now because we don't have a slide for that. When you authenticate to an identity provider, it returns back something. Even if you have a complex password and MFA, the result of that is a token. And the bad guys steal that token, and that means they don't need your password. They don't need your MFA. That token is valid. I believe for AD, it's 10 hours. And if you try to modify it to make it shorter lifetime, they tell you, well, you're going to affect performance drastically. Think of it seriously. So it's always that game of cat and mouse. You do your job. You have a really strong password. passphrase, I should say. You have a strong MFA, and still the bad guys that get your token and they get your privileges. So that token should not allow you to go from one server to the other. So that's called lateral movement. So if you're authorized by our PAM to go on server database, you should not be able to go on server domain controller. You should not. So that permeates all of the PAM. Is you should not have an account that has too many privileges, because if it gets stolen, it's going to be used across the board for doing stuff that you're not intending to do. So it's really only if you ask access to the security guy and he gives you his old key press, you can do anything. You need that tiny key just for that lock that you are meant to operate in.
And would you say that this is the foundation or the base of a good privilege access management system?
Before PAM existed, it was the base of good hygiene in security. But without the tools, it was without the tools, it's painful.
And there's a way to do it seamlessly, right? With just-in-time innovation within our tools, right?
With shared accounts, it's still possible, but you need to create all of these accounts that will have that set of permissions. So for AD, you would have 18 accounts, let's say. So it's easy. I can script it in even PowerShell. Even before PowerShell, you could do it in a command file. So that's easy, but you have 18 accounts to look after, and they have these privileges all the time. So it's one thing, it's valid, it works, but just-in-time elevation is the next level. You have, and again, you could have certain permissions at rest, but if you imagine, count the hours per year. Let's say, okay, make it easier. We're going to count per day. So you work 5 days a week. The account has permissions for the 40 hours that you're working. So that's 40 hours of exposure. If you're just needed for an hour per week and you set it in that role just for that 1 hour, you've drastically brought down the risk and the exposure. So just-in-time elevation is just that. You have acronym SOUP, Zero Standing Privileges Account, ZSP, and you use JIT elevation, and you specify which role you want to elevate yourself into, and that we just add it just in time, and we remove it at the end of the we call it checkout still, but you're not checking out anything. We're adding something to you and then removing it from the account. But still, that's the process we have. So just for that 1 hour, you're going to be domain admin, and that's it.
And Mark is going to showcase that in a few minutes again. Before we move to control number 8, maintain an up-to-date asset inventory, right?
Well, that's amazingly, we had that in Remote Desktop Manager, in our basic connection manager. That is, you can use a free version. It does that. It has IT management built in. So you need, again, just like the accounts that you need to know that exist, you need to know all of the assets that you have. And it goes deeper, because you need to know not only they exist, you need to know what's the version of the software that's running on it. Are they up to date? Are you following really the latest critical updates? If it's a public-facing computer, still nowadays, life happens. So some servers in dark server rooms are, it's called air-gapped. They're not connected to the internet. They're not connected on a network. We see that a lot in the critical infrastructure. I won't say their names, but if you have trains and stuff like that, they probably have an air-gapped network, and and you need to take your computer and connect to it. It's high security measures. But yeah, that shows the complexity of if you want to follow the best practices. But still, that covers the whole spectrum.
And last one, ensure secure internal and external communication channels.
Yeah, obviously, we won't demo that because it's using secure communication channels. So a good vault will have encryption at rest because in encryption, there is a manner to encrypt passwords that you'll never be able to reverse it. And there is a way that you will be able to reverse it. So we have to do that because we're storing passwords that we are injecting in the protocol. So we have to use reversible encryption for those passwords. So we want to make sure, and again, if you imagine this is more in the larger infrastructures, that the database administrator, if it takes a backup and he restores it on his home server, you don't want him to be able to get at the passwords. Neither do you want the sysadmin guy to be able to extract everything. So there are areas of concerns. Each person should be able to do their job, but the integrity of the system must be kept whole. So that's measures like encryption at rest, encryption in transit, that's covered by TLS, SSL for most of you. And and we can we speak about Devolution Send? Are we going to show it? Yeah.
Yep.
So one challenge is to send passwords to remote, let's say, not colleagues. They could be contractors. They could be anyone.
Well, external users, because we have capabilities within the system itself to send secure message.
Yeah, right.
Through Devotion server, through our PAM platform, you can send encrypted and secure messages.
Yeah, you're actually
within
right.
our platform. But let's say you want to onboard a new contractor, you want to onboard a new vendor, you want to send out secure messages to this external user. You use what we call Devolution Send.
Devolution Send. Yeah, we'll show a few screenshots of this, but that's a secure way to send secrets. It's much more than passwords we support. Do we support attachments yet?
Attachments, yes.
Files.
Files and attachments,
Again, that's not part of the PAM offering. It's not limited to the PAM offering. In fact, it's free. So if you have RDM free and you use Password Hub free, Devolutions Hub free or personal. If you use our free products, you can use Devolution Send to send secrets. So all of that encryption and ensuring that the data is valid and kept private, we cover all of the bases for that.
And it's a modern alternative to Password Pusher. At least that's what I was told by one of our clients when he discovered it. It was
the modernity of it.
Yeah, the modernity of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
but that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, they had free services have existed for the longest time. You can run your own on GitHub. I found a pretty good one, and people like open source. They can look at the code and ensure of the validity of the product. So you could run a personal password pusher as well. But yeah, this is a enterprise grade offering reviewed by our security team, pen tested by our partners. So it's a excellent offering.
Mark, if you want to take it away for the digital innovation features, asset inventory, and then maybe showcase a bit of what's Devolution Send in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we get in, I want to mention something very quickly because you mentioned this, Maurice. You know, Devolutions, we have even ourselves on GitHub, our stuff. So if people want to see what we do, they want to have a better understanding of everything that's involved, they can find it there. And that speaks to, transparency. That's one of the pillars here. So people see what we're actually using. And it's state of the art. And so now for just-in-time elevation, as Maurice said, zero standing privileges, that's all defined at the account level itself, privilege account level itself. So back in what we saw earlier, the PAM Vault, here we called it Montreal again, here for those curious. But here we have our very simple just domain account. And in properties here, I can, in this section, decide for JIT authorization. Here we decide what privileges, what role, as Maurice said, we want to allow here. And then we have 3 examples. I want to request an elevation for DNS domain or enterprise admin. We can define this here. And for that a loaded period of time, as you said, Maurice, we get that role for that account. So what we say, and it's important to repeat here, is that the accounts we use, they have the least number of privileges possible so that we don't have anything that's high risk by default or in the wild here. And then we give additional rights, higher rights on that need to basis. Specifically, when I open connection, I need access to a system. I need to do updates or whatever maintenance or whatever work that needs to be done. I'm not using that computer admin account, as you said. I'm using an account that I've been given rights, as an example, just for the work that I need to do. So as you said, we could have 18 accounts, for example, if I need to have 18 different roles. It's just one example here, but it's very customizable, very, very granular as well. That's the key here. But that is the mechanism that really gives the flexibility to all of you to just say, well, I'm not going to use high privileged accounts no more. I'm going in a least privileged model, 0 standing privilege model. So I'm really ramping up security posture at that level when accessing systems. And the other part, remote desktop manager, IT asset inventory management. So for that part here in remote desktop manager, that's probably the longest standing piece in remote desktop manager, being able to load information to systems and keeping that up to date. So here, properties, just a simple system that I have. This is a VM here, but in the properties here, under the view section, this is where you have all asset information that is loaded. So here we have a summary of details. This is more RDM oriented, but then when we start with the network tab here, we've got different tools, and then you'll see here load from system information. You'll press on this button. I'm not going to press it right now because it takes a few moments to load here, but once you click on this, these fields, depending on the information it retrieves, they all get filled. So we've got, again, network information, software information, and then hardware information on the system itself. We get this all automatically filled, and that's where we can start and keep that information up to date with Remote Desktop Manager, and we can do that with pretty much every system, I think now. It used to be Windows with WMI calls, but I think now we can do Mac and Linux.
The architecture team did great.
Yeah.
And I think we have batch updates as well.
Yes.
Hidden somewhere in RDM. Again, for those that are familiar, we're not in RMM, remote management and monitoring. Yeah. Again, but since it's a good way to start. If you can afford to use Intune or any RMM out there,
absolutely,
use it by all means. You will have maybe more capabilities, but the requirement is asset management, and we don't show the reports. We have. I know that our own IT team has not bought an IT management, IT asset management software because we built the features for them directly in RDM.
But it's worth mentioning, however, that we do integrate with some inventory asset management systems. I know that the first one we had done was Blue Tally. For those that may be using Blue Tally, if that resonates with some individuals, Blue Tally is one. Landsweeper. That's the one that we have I would say the most in-depth integration with today.
We actually work with the team at Landsweeper to integrate Landsweeper with the desktop manager.
Still quite very popular. We see it.
Oh yeah, it's very popular. Yeah, they're not too big. Huh? It's not a big company. Landsweeper, they have a pretty huge footprint globally, and they're out of the UK. They have offices in Australia, but they're not that big of a company.
Most of our resellers sell Landsweeper as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, guys, maybe 2 minutes to showcase internal channels or maybe Devolution send for external channels to send secure messages.
Do I have maybe just a little
Yeah,
10
go ahead.
seconds? There's a little
Absolutely.
something that Maurice mentioned in the beginning that I forgot when we were talking about MFA here, because you mentioned this, Maurice. It's very important. Going back to our policy engine here, Devolution server, under administration and then server settings, that part for multi-factor, when we talk about bringing your own MFA, maybe you don't have a cloud-based identity provider or something that's not just Active Directory. So if you're on Active Directory, basically, you don't. The Active Directory doesn't have built-in MFA capabilities. You have to rely on a third-party component here, or at least on a third-party source of access policy. So multi-factor here. This is important. These are the types of choices that you could basically get with Active Directory. So any TOTP app, YubiKey email, SMS, Duo, Radius. And I think for the SMS portion, we use the Twilio service, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
For that, yeah. So these are the choices that would give you at least an opportunity to say, well, I don't have Entra, I don't have Okta, I don't have anything else. Even for local authentication, can I bring in my own MFA? And that's
And some of them are not perfect. Some people will say never use SMS. Well, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. In the past, you'd have to be a huge target of opportunity for someone to try to hack your steal your SIM and whatnot. Nowadays, it's simpler, and with AI, it's even simpler. But it's onion peels. Keep adding on layers and layers, because if we go back to it, Remote Desktop Manager, 12 years ago, we never revealed passwords. We didn't have to. Passwords are a nuisance. You're meant to work on server X, and I need that password. Oh, someone changed it. Mine's not up to date. You need to go through that VLAN. I need a tunnel. I need a gateway. Oh, man, that's a mess. RDM takes care of that. And again, that's not even before joining Devolutions, I was using the RDM. So it's let's get rid of the noise and focus on your job. That's for IT people. And for auditors and compliance officers, you want reports, you want visibility, and you want it to be easy because you have 2 days to do that compliance report, and you have to move on to your other tasks. So let's keep things simple, and we think of all of you guys, different personas, and we create the features that we feel that you need and that often you ask us. Our feature request forum is really, really active, huh, Mark?
Yep.
There's a lot.
But we also do a lot of dog fooding here at Devolutions. So the tools that we build, we use them ourselves.
Yeah.
So we can bring
All of them.
more features for being an SMB ourselves. We understand the lack of resources, the lack of financial resources, human resources. So we want to get the most out of our actions within the RDM platform or PAM, or so that it can be seamless. The more seamless, the better for us, and the simpler is the better also. So I see time's running out. So Mark, if you want to showcase maybe Devolution Send before we go, which is again we mentioned simple,
Very
straight,
simple.
streamline, which is the case with Devolution Send.
Yeah, so for if you want to at least have a look at it, Devolution Send, you'll find this. This is on our website here. So again, modern alternative to Password Pusher. This works with our services, works with Remote Desktop Manager, works with Devolution Server, Devolution Sub, and you can send secrets from there. Or just, you'd rather just use it as a one-time, service that you can just use on our website from here, send a secret, and then you see from here, I can send a secret, either a file or just a simple email. It just sends it over, and then you've got a few additional security options that you can enable here. So that's very easy to just...
That's not logged in, Mark. You don't have an account at this point.
No need for
Yeah, no, I don't have
No
an account.
need for an account.
Yeah.
That is key. And if you do have an account, we have a few more options.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. It's really...
It's there. Use it.
It's a channel for sending information securely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have 10 minutes left. I'll let you guys prepare some questions that you might have for Maurice and Mark. In the meantime, we bring back the starter pack here. If you want to get access to all those features, all the platform, all the functionalities that we just mentioned, you get 20% off, 25% off the starter pack next week, ending on June 6th. And what the quote is, you can write it down, but you also get an email after the presentation to make sure that you get access to the Devotion store and buy a few licenses of the starter pack if you want to do so. So yeah, that being said, I see that we have a question. Is there a plan to have Send self-hosted where we have DVLS?
Well, it's truly built as an online offering, so I would have to say no.
But you can use the secure internal messages in DVLS.
Yeah, if you have an account, but the undertext I feel here is he wants to send to someone that is not in his server, but we do not plan to have it. It's a whole server.
Oh, that's one for you, Maurice. Do you support ServiceNow ticketing system?
Yes, it's coming. It's just released last week. Well, internally, or those that have the beta are seeing it right now.
Yeah.
We have ServiceNow integration within RDM. I haven't touched the checkout dialogue yet to improve it. I want to do a lot of improvements, but I'd love to speak to you because I support, and this is detailed now, incidents and change requests, and ServiceNow is highly customizable. It's a beast of a product, and they will. Rumors are that they're going to have a PAM built in, so it's a beast. But I'm supporting incident and change requests, and we want to see where the community brings us. But with my AI playground, I'm having the ticket text analyzed. And I'm working, I have it working. I select the proper host in your tree view, and the next step will be to offer which jet elevation to ask for.
Pretty powerful.
Pretty nice.
Is it available through the RDM beta that's released on the website?
Yeah.
It's in the website. Yeah,
Yes.
and maybe I wrote down Norbert name so that you can contact him after the webinar. But maybe we can share your email address as well. In the chat, so they can write you down if they're.
Oh yeah, I'd love input on the ServiceNow integration because we don't have a lot of time. But for those that are working in an organization that follows the ITIL principles,
Yep.
that have ITSM, their life starts with a ticket and ends with a ticket. Mm-hmm. So I have an idea that RDM should start with your ticket list and help you along the way.
We have another questions from Darko. Maybe to have some time of white labeling for Send to have our own domain, subdomain.
Again, it's not built for that yet. We can surely look at the options.
I think we received a request for that.
Yeah, but
on our forum.
Luke is in charge of that. And I was asking more about geo-distribution, but still, we'll keep a track on that. Is it an official feature request?
From what I remember, it was on our forum.
Okay.
I'd have to check again.
Okay.
You can add Laurence. You can add Maurice's email address in the chat so people can actually write to Maurice if they want to suggest some features like that. We have a question from Frederick. Is it planned to integrate GLPI ticketing system? Which I don't know which one is it.
Wow, I don't even know that name.
It seems like an open source from what I can see from here.
I think I mentioned earlier, Zendesk, Freshdesk was mentioned.
It's open source.
We have to do a Salesforce. But keep adding, keep asking. Again, for some of you guys, I think the tickets are you really running your day. They're
bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if they have a REST API, it's and a simple status, it's easy to do.
What about Fresh interface? The ticketing system you just
Fresh
mentioned?
Desk, yes.
Fresh Desk.
Yeah, I know it about under Fresh Desk. It would be my third on the list at this point. But you guys drive my feature request list, so vote for it.
I'll vote it if you want to. To move it.
Post in the forum and go say +1, +1, +1.
Yeah, maybe if we can share the feature request section. Would that be RDM or Devolution server for the feature request? Because we have multiple places to
I
put
build
that
it first in RDM. So
Build it first in RDM?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it has to be in RDM. It better be.
You might want to do another webinar on those specific integrations for ticketing systems because I see two other questions. Autobo ticketing, how's the integration there? I don't know.
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was an open request for that, and basically, what was determined from our engineering team is that the IKEV2 command line to create a connection config on a computer does not allow us to send a certificate or username password parameter. This means that the user has to create the config before using it in RDM. So you actually have to create it, and afterwards, the automatic mode will take care of that, but there's just no way for us to actually use the config for it. That's what was determined in the ticket that was made for this. And I think we have provided an update for that request on our forum page.
This is for
there.
from Luigi. That's right. That's the
That's for Luigi. Yes.
And what
There was
about
another one.
the Autobo ticketing system?
Oh, I've never heard of that,
I've heard
Maurice.
of that as well.
Well, I feel a need for a custom ticketing system integration. If you guys know, I don't know if it's even in the release notes. I did a custom synchronizer, which is PowerShell based. You scan whatever in your PowerShell script, and you have a simple loop rdm.new, and it creates a session. And I love doing that. So maybe we could have a custom. I like custom things.
Yeah, I know.
A custom ticketing integration.
But it's useful for requests just like that, right?
Yeah, because if you ask, I can only work 60 hours a week.
Oh, you can do more.
So for me, for sure, like I have to do Salesforce. It's a request straight from the top. I'm going to do it. So that's what I'll do in 2025.3. So Zendesk, Freshdesk could be in 2026.1 if unless we get a lot of requests and they ask the integration team for further integrations. But still.
Yeah. And visit the forum. Laurence can put the link to the forum. Our forum is our main hub for feature requests just like that. And we can get a feel of those requests and see how popular they are, or how many users would want to see that coming into RDM or into the platform. We have two other questions.
And Norbert?
Well, we have Martin.
Okay.
All those features and options are available on on-premises only environment? Question mark?
Well, the JIT elevation was for on-prem, but with the new hub coming, it's going to be partial, I would say. But it's getting there.
Through Devolution Hub?
Yeah. The new PAM platform. And I'm trying to think of the... I live in the future because I'm working on 2025.3 already. What's different? I can't say, Mark.
I think from what I had seen, we had added support for domain and Entra ID accounts, at least for
we
the
have
JIT
AD.
portion.
That's the huge thing
Yeah.
about 2025.2.
Yeah.
In the hub PAM, we have Active Directory. So now the hub portal hub version is driving on-prem AD.
Yeah.
So it's becoming almost hybrid. But
Hybrid,
I can't use that term, but it's becoming really rich. But if you do AD, SSH, I think we're on par.
Devolution Hub being our cloud base data repository for
Yes.
if you want to move to the cloud, of course. Next question. If we use the Linea secret server integration, Devolutions, do Devolutions store any data, password, user data, or...
Apart from the logs, but we're not logging passwords. Delinea is a type of. We do have a few types of integrations. I think we have the proxy based and the one where we get the password and we do not persist it in any way. For other vendors, we never keep the passwords locally. It's just security hates us if we do that, so they catch us immediately. So we never cache passwords from other systems. Even KeePass, lowly KeePass, which is open source locally, deployed locally. We get the password and we.
It's really just a bridge between that source of secrets and the source of connections that is RDM.
Yes, even ourselves, we feel that passwords are a nuisance. So
yeah, agreed.
It's not mine. Get rid of it.
For propagation, is it planned to be able to create server lists for the propagation application? Currently, it must be done endpoint by endpoint.
Yeah. My bad. the local, the domain join servers, I'm really not happy with what we delivered. We keep trying to patch it. It's still not up to my liking, but we'll look at it. Is it Frederick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frederick.
So a lot of current users of the server, I see.
Late. Will you make the decision available later? Yeah, Polo. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's all recorded. It's gonna be available. We're gonna send out a few goodies with the starter pack promo code, and all the slide deck will be available as well as the recording. Time's running out, guys. It's already been an hour. We weren't sure. I wasn't sure if we could do an hour-long webinar. So again, I was wrong. So happy to be. And I believe. I see a lot of people live on the webinar right now, and we're gonna propose new subjects. I think in the upcoming weeks and months. I see a lot of questions regarding ticketing system. Mark, you have something to add?
Am I allowed to tease our next webinar?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's everything on Remote Desktop Manager free.
Yeah.
So if we have people watching us right now that are not even using RDM, and you're using perhaps another product and you're paying for it, well, I can just tease right now and tell you that you're probably paying for features that we're going to offer you for free with our free edition. So stay tuned, coming very soon in a few weeks, and we're going to have a lot to say about the power of Remote Desktop Manager free and how easy it is to be, a one-man show with all of your tools and be a pro, basically, without a team.
Yeah.
It's coming very soon.
Do you have a date? Do we have a date for that specific webinar? In August?
Around August, yeah.
Yeah. So just to keep everyone online and up to date, you can visit the Devolutions blog. You can visit the forum. You can subscribe to the forum threads for announcements for dates just like this one. We have a newsletter as well that you can easily find on the website if you want to get the most out of your experience with Devolutions. And before I let you go, I would bring people to the Devolution Academy, if I may. I was going to put the link right there. We do have now a whole, some will say, Devolution University or Academy. We call it the Academy, but it's a training platform with all best practices. We have learning paths. We have certification for IT professionals that you can share throughout Credly if you use Credly. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good stuff here. Laurent's going to put the link for Devolution Academy if you want to get your hands on all the courses that's all available. I think we have more than 60 courses right now in Learning Path.
And come and see us at ITSA, me and Min and Stefan and Etienne. ITSA in Nuremberg will be in Amsterdam as well in September.
So coming in a few months in ITSA for all our German friends and Austrian friends.
A lot of friends there.
There are a lot of users in Germany.
A lot of friends. We meet so many customers.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Thanks for your time, Maurice, Mark, Laurence.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great. Let's do that again.
Absolutely.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good one. Cheers.